When it comes to female Transformers, I think most of us can agree that Arcee is one of the most iconic ones out there. From her original appearance in the 1986 movie all the way up to modern day, she's always been the go-to fembot. And throughout the years, there have been many different Arcee figures that have been released. I personally never owned a G1 style fembot for one reason or another, but when Newage finally released one, I was super hyped for it. And luckily I was able to get my hands on the last one of these little ladies from my local shop. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Speakerhead, and today we're going to be taking a look at Newage Arcee. But before we get into this video, if you enjoy any of this sort of content and want to see more of it, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does help me out. I'm personally trying to hit 1,000 subscribers on my channel before 2024, so if you want to help me reach that goal, make sure to subscribe. Also, a friendly reminder that 1 like equals 1 pat for my little buddy Doug, and he's extra clean because he just got a bath. Say hi, Doug. Finally, I want to mention if you enjoy any of the music in this video or just want to support the channel in general, it's all part of my royalty-free music label, Speakerhead Studios. All the music on this label is completely royalty-free, so go ahead and use it for any of your content creating needs. But now that we got all that out of the way, let's get into the review. And of course, to start this review off, we're going to talk about her accessories. To start off, she comes with a tiny little pistol that I believe is from the 1986 movie. And that has a nice sculpt to it, and it does have a little spot that looks like it can tab into somewhere on Arcee, but I haven't found where that is yet, so stay tuned to see if I figure that out. And that's just sculpted in a nice gray plastic. Next, she comes with a larger pink blaster that also has a nice sculpt to it. And this also has the same little tab on the side as the first blaster. And this is just sculpted in nice pink plastic. Then she's also going to come with one large gun. And the front of it has a nice pink paint job, and the back of it is just white plastic. But just like the other two blasters, this also has a fantastic sculpt. So the next accessory she's going to come with is going to be 2 pairs of closed hands and 2 pair of open hands. And I'll be honest, the closed hands do look a little goofy on her, but if she's holding a blaster, it's not too bad. Then the final accessory she's going to come with is an alternate face with a red visor. And I really do love that reflective red on there. It really looks awesome on that head sculpt. And this can just easily be swapped out. Now that we're done talking about accessories, let's talk about the sculpt of this figure. Starting with the head, Newage did an amazing job with the head sculpt for Arcee. I love the sculpted detail of the buns on the sides of her head. And I really do love that face sculpt. It just looks fantastic. And that goes same for the alternate face as well. Moving down to her lower arms, there isn't a crazy amount of sculpt work there, but I'm glad that they did add a little bit of sculpted detail there. Moving to the upper torso now, I think that they did an excellent job on this as well. I like how they are able to keep her slim design without having to sacrifice a crazy amount. I will admit she does have a large backpack like most other Arcees, but this one isn't as bad as some of the other ones I've seen. But moving back to the front, I think that Newage did an amazing job with the sculpt of Arcee's chest. Moving to the lower torso, there's actually a decent amount of detail in here. There's those nice sculpted shapes that are right in front that really look nice on the figure. But I do like how they are actually able to get that slim silhouette for her for the lower torso, because that's difficult to do on a lot of these figures. Talking about the upper legs, Arcee has those thighs that don't lie, because those are some thick thighs. Honestly, that's what I thought when I originally transformed this figure into robot mode, but I do like the little bit of sculpted detail on her upper legs. Something I'm not a huge fan of is that there's a peg sticking out for transformation in the back of her leg. And honestly, besides the backpack, I think this is the most ugly part about this sculpt. Moving down to the lower legs and feet, I like her sculpted knee pads, those look great. And then overall, I really do like the sculpt work on her feet. And to just quickly talk about stability quick, even though she is a pretty thin figure with small feet, she does stand up fairly well. She does have a tendency to fall backwards sometimes just because she has a decently large backpack, but it's not too terrible as long as you give her a slight lean forward. But now that we're done talking about sculpt of Arcee, let's move on to the paint job. So right away, I'm just going to say that Newage absolutely nailed the paint job on this Arcee. Starting with her head, the only paint that's going to be on there is going to be for the face. And for the non-visor face, she's going to have fantastic blue eyes and nice painted pink lips. And then her actual face is painted as well. And this is the same for the visor version, but the visor is once again painted with that nice red. Moving to the arms, the pink on the shoulder is going to be plastic. Those grayish whites on her arms are going to be painted. And the pink on her lower arms is also painted. Talking about her torso now, that white on the upper part is going to be painted. The main pink on her chest is also painted. And then the light gray and lower gray on the lower part is also painted. Moving to her lower torso, that gray is painted. The pink on the lower part and in the symbols. And then that purple around those symbols is also painted. Moving on to the legs and feet, the only paint I can see on there is going to be the gray on the feet. But overall, like I said, Newage did an excellent job with the paint job on this Arcee. I absolutely love it. So now that we're all done with paint job, let's move on to posability. Starting on the head, it's on a ball joint that can look mostly all the way up, and then can look left and right. Moving to the arms now, they can go all the way out to the side, and they can go 360, but the backpack does eventually get in the way. Moving to the lower arms, it has a bicep swivel and it has a double elbow bend that can essentially get it 180 degrees if there wasn't the hands there. Moving to the waist, it has an ab crunch that can get about 90 degrees and a waist swivel. Talking about her leg articulation, this is where it becomes a bit of an issue. Her legs are able to go all the way out to the side, but because she has such dummy thick thighs, her legs are only able to go out so far before they start going out to the side. Now if you slightly detransform the figure and pull the legs downwards, you can get a little bit more leg articulation, but it does break the sculpt of the figure. But if you do pull that down, you can get the legs mostly all the way forward, and only about 45 degrees back before they really start going out to the side. Moving down to the knee, she has a double knee bend that can bend pretty much all the way flat. Then due to the transformation, it does have an extra hinge joint in the middle of the shin, so you can use that to your advantage for posing. Then moving down the feet, they're on ball joints that can get you a slight ankle tilt up, down, and to the side. So overall, she has some pretty fantastic articulation except for in the thigh area, because damn, those are some thick thighs. Now that we've talked about her posability, let's move on to her transformation. So talking about transformation, since this was my first Arcee figure, I didn't really know what to expect. All I really knew about Arcee figures is that a majority of them folded up most if not all the alt mode into the backpack. And with this figure, it does fold up a decent amount of the backpack into the alt mode, but it does use a decent amount of her robot mode as well. And that I really liked about this because it makes it more enjoyable to transform the figure. But for my first Arcee figure, I thought this was a really fun and enjoyable transformation. But then this finally comes out to what I think is a pretty cool looking alt mode. So talking about the alt mode of this Arcee, I don't really know much about her alt mode, but I personally really like the look of this. It's a lot more slender than a lot of their other designs, so it really stands out from a lot of other Newage and Magic Square figures. And as I stated before, Newage absolutely nailed the paint job on this figure, and I think the alt mode really shows that off well. All the pinks and whites on there are painted and it just looks amazing. I also really like the translucent windshield on there, and I also thought it was clever how the feet folded up to end up making the seats. But overall, I think this is a really awesome alt mode for Arcee. So now that we're done talking about alt mode, let's move on to my final thoughts for this figure. And Doug will be joining me for this because he's being extra needy right now. So when it comes to my final thoughts for this Arcee, I think this is a really awesome Arcee figure. Like I said before, I haven't owned any G1 Arcee figures, so this is my first one and I'm super happy that I picked it up. She has an amazing and clean paint job. She's got some great posability except for those thick thighs that I talked about before. I know I mentioned them a lot, but they really are thick and get in the way. But besides the issue with her thighs, she has some of the best articulation of any figure that I've messed around with. And that's to be expected because when she has such a slim design, she should have pretty good posability as well. And because she is my first female Transformer, it's been a lot of fun trying out some feminine poses for a change compared to all the normal heroic poses I do. But if you need an Arcee for your Legend Scale collection, I cannot recommend this little lady enough. But that's going to be my thoughts on Newage Arcee. Let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know if you already have her or if you plan on picking her up. Once again, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does help me out. And finally, once again, if you enjoyed any of the music in this video or just want to support the channel in general, it's all part of my royalty-free music label, Speakerhead Studios, link in the description. But that's going to be it for me, guys. I appreciate you checking out the video, and I'll catch all y'all in the next one. Peace.